Most of us have heard of vegan, but what about vegan raw? Hi, I'm Jill Newman, and I thought it would be fun and interesting to explore the growing trend going across the United States of eating food raw. Hope you're hungry. We're here at the Organic Garden in Beverly, Massachusetts with owner Robert Reed, who is going to explain a little bit to us about how the food's prepared and some of the trend of the industry, the raw food trend in the restaurant industry. So, Robert,
okay.
Tell us about this restaurant and when did you start it? How long has it been successful?
We started here almost 5 years ago. Actually opened on the winter solstice. December 22nd of 1999.
Was there some significance to
Very
that?
auspicious date,
okay.
yes. So now we're at still one restaurant.
That's okay.
We're closer to 25,000 than we were 5 years ago.
We're just one closer, aren't we?
Yeah, we're just one closer.
Well,
no, actually, we'd like to, maybe someday it'll happen. We'll open up 1, 2, 3.
What did you notice from 5 years ago when you first opened up the doors, the interest of the public, to today? Were they just waiting, or did you have to educate them a little bit and coax them in to start eating?
Yeah, there was a little bit of both, certainly. I mean, going back to 9 years ago when I discovered raw foods myself, I started already, beating the pavement, trying to raise interest and consciousness around eating more organic, vegetarian, and raw foods, and I began putting on recipe classes and seminars, and I already felt at that time like there was a growing interest. Although at the very beginning I did feel kind of alone, so not that many people were doing it, but even 10 years before that, Ann Wakemore and the Hippocrates Institute was in Boston, and that had left a big mark. Today, still, there's so many people that come in here, and that's their connection to raw foods. They heard about it 20 years ago from the Hippocrates Center in Boston, and so then, as I say, I come along, and a lot of people have forgotten about it, or just kind of quietly practicing raw foods at home. But word got out
because you couldn't go to a restaurant and say, I'd like to have pie made out of, nuts and figs or something.
No, you can't. You even have trouble just finding vegetarian restaurants. There's been a few in the Boston area.
Okay. Right. Raw is one step further than vegetarian.
One step further, but even to get it all organic is not possible. So this restaurant certainly had a niche. If you were a raw foodist, you would drive 2 hours to come here.
Right, and people have, and we speak to some people today who said that they drove over 30 minutes to find just this place.
Yeah, they will, and we get, a very large part of our audience drives all the way from Boston. And so the niche, though, is it's not just raw foodists. We'll get people who are just interested in organic dining, or people that are total vegans. So we can pick up on any one of those niches, or usually a raw foodist is someone's totally into raw foods. When I say raw foodist, I don't mean someone has to be 100% raw, even
because you're
at all.
actually 90%, right? I saw the sign, you have 90% raw.
Yeah, we're like 95%. Because the soups are cooked, and there we do offer wrapped bread and stringers. All the ingredients inside of those things are raw, though, and the soups start out raw. And any soup, even if it's served hot, can be ordered cold, so you can have it at your choice. Same thing as if you want a wrap, you can get it in a cabbage leaf or a lettuce leaf or a nori roll, a raw nori.
So you have the option of being completely raw.
You always have the option of being 100% raw.
This doesn't look like a typical coconut.
No.
It's all white. What happened to it? Have you shaved it?
Actually, yeah, this is, they call them, I think they refer to them as green coconuts, possibly. Like if you ever taken a vacation to a tropics, you got the little hotel boys or hotel people in the front with the machetes, and the coconuts will be falling right off the tree, and you'll just see them, they'll take them, they'll hack them around and open them up and hand them to you. Well, pack these things and put them in. This is from, I think most of them are from Thailand or the Philippines. It's called a young coconut, because the coconut's picked at the peak of its maturity, not past. It's peaked at a point where there's more water and electrons in the coconut than there is meat. Because typically with the hardened old coconuts that you typically see in the supermarket, the water, it's in there, the most health-giving aspect of the coconut dries up and becomes our hard meat on the side. So this has got a soft jelly inside. So it's called the young coconut. And I'm going to show you guys how to open it.
How you open this is your method.
Because they're so
it's
good.
It's an art form. Everybody has their own way of doing it.
And you want to know how to open it with ease because you want to use a lot of these.
You want to spill the juice.
But once you know how to open them easily, if that's not a deterring factor for you anymore, and you can find a place where you can buy them, then that's terrific because there's so many unbelievable things you can do in raw food recipes with
the coconuts.
Yeah,
Very
you can
important
make
part
delicious young coconut soups, all kinds of smoothies. You can mix young coconut with even wheatgrass.
Should I step back?
We're gonna. Well, the first part's pretty simple actually. Just shave it. This is what I'm doing.
Shave the coconut. I was right.
Hey, Laura, look at this here. I'm shaving the coconut. Now I'm shaving it to make like a perfect, almost like a little bowl cut, I guess you could say. But you can see there's a circle that's sort of been shaved. Now,
it's like it's been scalped.
Scalped. Actually, it's like a monk, right?
Exactly.
A monk's haircut. So, creating that border somehow that acts as a guide now. So when I jam just one corner of a sharp cleaver into that, on that edge, it'll pop.
Oh, look at that.
It'll usually
Look how much
pop a circle.
milk is in there. Oh my god.
Yeah, and it's just overflowing
Now I was
with
thinking
milk.
that this was the coconut part, but you don't eat this part, right?
No.
This is obviously the part.
Right, and
Look how
this
thin it is.
is
You have to
soft.
show this. See how
It's
thin
like-
that is?
It's like jelly almost.
Oh my God.
They call it. They even call it like a young jelly. Sometimes they'll call them. But this is like. It's got a different flavor.
And you
than
eat that?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
you eat
yeah.
it. You make puddings out of it. You make coconut pies or kiwi lime pie with coconut cream.
It's like custard.
Yeah, you can make
It's a little bit
wonderful dressings, dessert toppings.
Yummy.
Great for dessert toppings. Great for pies.
And we need straws now to drink the milk.
Yep.
Only you're going to be serving this to one of
You
your
can see
customers,
how,
right? So
how
we can't
clear
do
it
that.
is. It's not white either. I lied about the cameraman part. That was it was really
That's pretty good.
really
Very
for
sweet.
you.
Okay, we're going to show just how much juice is in this coconut. And let's look at this. I'm going to pour it into this glass. I'll probably spill some, but... Alright, look at this. That, and we've had some already. We've already drank some of this. That's how much juice is in a coconut. I've never seen this before. I'm used to the coconuts, the big ones that are really old, that, as Dan said, you know, there's not much juice in them, but this is amazing. I'm thirsty.
Right. Just going to finish off one of our favorite drinks here at the restaurant. And truly one of our favorite drinks. I'm not just saying that because I could say that actually.
You could say that.
About every
And we
smoothie
believe
on it.
you.
Because every smoothie on the menu, they all are the best smoothies on the planet. And all the ingredients are organic and fresh and raw. And the smoothie's made with love. So I mean, but this out of those smoothies, which are the best ever, this is even more greater.
I'll tell you, there's coconut juice, coconut. I saw a few almonds, ice, and a cup of sugar.
Yeah. No, yeah. Sing,
Just kidding.
bam. Okay.
No sugar.
Bam. Coconut water, coconut meat, banana, almonds, and a hint, just a tiny bit of ice. And we call it a Velvet Elvis, and why? I'll tell you why. Because the original Velvet Elvis was almond butter and banana. Lots of almond
Because
butter.
Elvis liked it, bananas and peanut butter
I always like
fried.
banana peanut butter fried with lard.
So you took
you
it
know.
with lard?
Well, unfortunately, whatever. It
Down
was
south,
fried.
you're right, probably
yeah,
was.
It was.
So you took out the peanut butter and you took out the bread.
I substituted almond for peanut butter and black soil for lard.
Okay.
Because the velvet elves in Memphis get black soil.
And there's black soil in
And
there?
not in this one. So then we found that we could actually get a very similar flavor when we used coconut water, coconut meat, the almonds, and a little bit of banana, and we almost got a similar effect. It's creamy, velvety, almond butter,
Lovely
rather
bouquet.
the Velvet Elvis.
Ooh, I want to cheers.
Pretend this is the camera.
This is for you.
This is,
Clink, clink.
all right. All right.
Whoops.
All right.
I can just jump in if you like and like start prepping for you and
Yeah?
wiping things down.
You can definitely wipe things down. No problem with that.
Yes, but you filled it for me, Dan.
I filled it again. Is it half empty or half full?
It's half full. And now it's empty.
All right, and then we've got the little banana, just a touch of ice, berries, banana, and ice. All right, we're gonna cut some fresh ginger.
Isn't that pretty? Look at that.
Nice little slice. Now, the skin, kind of like the skin of a lot of different foods like a potato or whatever. Your skin's gonna have some nutrients. So, with organic ginger, there's no reason to like get rid of all the skin. You might as well keep some of the skin. Just always make sure with ginger you don't have any mold. Cut away like the really, really rough-looking parts. But otherwise, skin has got nutrients in it. Same as the lemon. Lemon's got pith. Pith has got bioflavonoids and lots of different ingredients that are healthful. So an apple ginger lemon smoothie. Almost set to go. A kitchen in a restaurant is just as easy to mess up as a kitchen at home. Even easier. Okay, we're whirling at somewhere around 10,000 RPM. Actually 20,000. It's already on high.
So you control the RPMs on it. That's
Well,
what
it's got a variable speed.
we'll be talking more about the equipment to do with making raw foods a little later,
It
but
does have a variable speed
some
though.
serious blenders going on.
And you're not full like a bad feeling full. You feel good, So.
Yeah. It's a great, satisfying feeling after you're done eating.
It's very hard to find a restaurant that knows how to prepare a raw food meal. It's a really interesting way to heal yourself. I mean, the benefits of a raw food diet, and of course there are a lot of people that don't believe that way is the right way, because in order to release minerals and vitamins, you have to heat food to a certain state. So there are two trains of thought, but you feel much lighter and you have much more energy. And I think that if you're eating a live food, I just believe that it has to be nourishing your body better than something that's dead and cooked. It's like, oh great, the organic garden, let's go and have lunch. It's not, for most people that do that, it's not about walking in, having lunch, and leaving. The roots are really deep, for what you get out of the food and what it does for you.
So, how long have you been eating raw foods? Is this something you eat once in a while?
Well, I basically eat raw food with my mom most of the time because she really likes it. I'm trying to quit eating bread.
Breads?
Yeah.
We've been eating since 1993. I got introduced to raw food.
Really?
Yeah, in '93, and It makes such a difference. I mean, you eliminate illness and stress.
That seems to be
tiredness.
the common statements. That it's eliminating
And as soon as you take all the other food, you notice how quickly you get addicted to it. Pasta, bread, and as soon as you eat bagels or whatever, you just feel doughy and you slow down.
Yeah.
So, eat raw food.
Eat raw.
Rice.
Wow.
We have tomato towers, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you guys a couple plates.
Okay.
Those are spring rolls. It's got two different dipping sauces. Our fabulous Zen sauce and the almond Buddha.
What's this in here?
That's seed cheese.
Yeah, it's like a seed cheese or nut cheese. A couple layers of tomatoes, some chopped olives, chopped basil, some pecan, and you got some fragrant rosemary around the edges there.
It smells good.
I know. Well, go ahead and have a nibble.
Couple plates to share with.
We can eat off these plates. It's okay.
You're okay?
Yeah.
It's hard to cut.
It's yummy. I thought you'd like it. I hoped you did.
It tastes like tomato mozzarella.
Yeah, but without the dairy.
Yeah. Oh, I know. A little messy though.
It's gorgeous. Raw food spring rolls.
Not handy at the moment. Right in here. And out from the other side, we get this amazing spiral.
All right.
Looks like pasta.
You can even do it just like a noodle.
Yeah, it's really fresh zucchini. And then it's sitting in the strainer here because our prep artist here today, Matt Willis, what he did was a procedure we do to make the zucchini even a little more flavorful is to just blanch it very quickly.
Okay.
We have a hot tea dispenser.
Oh, is that what you're doing? I saw you shaking
Yeah,
it.
even though we're a raw food restaurant, sometimes we'll warm certain things. We'll blanch certain things like the stir fry that goes with our Zen shiitake dish.
Right.
So we covered this with hot water for about 30 seconds, and then got it in the strainer here. Little squeeze of olive oil. Right? Herbamare seasoning, which is a biodynamic seasoning salt. We just stir that around,
Lift weights.
and already that tastes good. For raw food vegan, I mean, that's your basic flavor of butter. Olive oil and salt. In fact, if you ever want to have popcorn and just put olive oil and salt on it, easily replace your butter.
Well, that's part of
Well,
preparing a good meal is that it satisfies all the parts of your palate. There's
Sure.
the fatty flavors, textures, and the salty and the sweet. Correct?
And then we can put it on right on the plate. We're going to dress it up with some chopped basil, a little bit of pecan nut. Got a little bit of sun-dried tomato. Ooh.
Yeah, I like them. They're sweet.
If you go to an authentic Italian restaurant, a lot of times you'll see pasta served in a similar manner as this. You know, with chopped tomatoes or chopped basil with the pasta. You know, with a little bit of pecan or walnut will come sprinkled around on the edge of the plate or on the pasta. You'll see that especially with an Alfredo type sauce. And this is going to get a pesto flop in the middle, as well as you're going to get some red sauce on there, and the red sauce on the meatballs.
What are the meatballs made of?
Actually, it looks like Matt's giving you one of each. We have portobello, mushroom lettuce, any fermented foods, any mushroom foods, any foods at all containing thing that has been advanced to a functional state. Pesto with macadamia pesto, zucchini, spaghetti, and the meatball.
happy dance here. Mwah! Delicious. I love pesto.
Do my wheat grass shot.
All right, and then we'll chat. So what are you finding now for 5 years later? You've spoken to several of your I won't say clients, but several of your
It's definitely
diners, and they really...
It's growing, and we're busier. We've gotten a lot of great media, and we've been very, very lucky. So we've been in Newsweek, Time Magazine, Christian Science Monitor.
Oh,
we've been
there
in
you
the
go.
Boston Globe 4 or 5 times, including the featured restaurant for Cheap Eats one week, and we've been on the front of the food page,
Do you
dining
think
page.
Congratulations.
So we've had some really good spots, but it's that I'm just as happy about seeing some local people come in and off the street.
Wander in, kind of
Yeah.
curiously, like, oh, what's
Not-
this about? Finally, we're getting around to coming
That's
into
right.
organic
And
garden.
they're not vegetarian or organic necessarily, or raw foodists, and they're just coming in because they want a healthy meal,
Yeah.
and they're walking out of here happy and then coming back. That to me is the most exciting thing about it, just to see regular local Beverly folk that are coming in here.
Okay, now that we know a little bit about raw food and what it is and some of the philosophy behind it, let's find out more about what a raw foodist's typical lifestyle might look like at various points in their journey. I have with me today Daniel Vitalis, who has been studying wellness and nutrition for about 10 years now, right? And he's also a licensed massage therapist. And what was it that got you started?
Well, I was about 16 years old, and I had struggled with my weight my whole life. I'd been overweight, and when I was 16, I realized it was time that I started getting interested in fitness and in nutrition. It was really confusing. There's so many diets out there. 10 years ago, the big thing was carbohydrates, eating a high carbohydrate diet and eating a low-fat diet with a moderate amount of proteins. And in 10 years, it's shifted so much. Now the focus is higher protein, low carbohydrate, and it seemed to me that there must be a diet beneath that all that was more suited to human beings. There must be a correct diet.
So you look back into the history of man and
Right.
said, geez, they
And into
only
the-
started eating meat when all the vegetation died off, right?
So there's a whole science called comparative anatomy, and in that science we can look at each species and determine based on their anatomical structure what's the ideal foods for them. And looking back at human beings, in anthropology we are classified as a primate and a frugivore, which means our most natural diet is fruits, nuts, and vegetables. So I began on that. I became a vegetarian, and I walked that for about 2 years, became a vegan, which means that I gave up all animal products and dairy products,
Right.
as well as eggs.
Was that in 98 that you began
About
being a vegan?
1998, I became a raw foodist. I've been a vegan for about 2 years. I learned about raw foods, and I moved to Hawaii for a while to pursue the lifestyle. And I started working at a raw food restaurant. It's about 7 years ago. There hadn't been very many raw food restaurants yet. So I started there, and I've been doing
Learned
it ever
a lot.
since.
I'll bet you learned a lot.
Yeah. Again, I think that it's 7 years ago, what the diet looked like was much different. People hadn't been doing it for very long in the modern raw food movement. And so I think as a movement we've learned a lot about nutrition, and my diet's changed so much over the years.
Well, I'm going to ask you now, I know it's going to wait, but you've traveled a little bit, and would it be safe to say that in the United States, it's only raw food has only been around for a short time, but maybe in other countries, do you think other cultures they've been eating
Yeah,
in that way
the modern raw food movement actually came here from Germany in the early 1900s.
Now, I would have thought Australia with the Aborigines or something.
Yeah, the Germans brought it here and out to California in the early 1900s, and there's been several times that it's sprung up as a movement in the United States. Again, pretty heavily in the early 1900s, then in the 1970s, and now most recently, about 10 years ago, the modern raw food movement started growing, and it's gained a lot of momentum, particularly in California and New York City. I think New York City currently has about 8 raw food restaurants, and probably the largest raw food community. So in my travels, I've traveled up the coast of the United States, going to all the different raw food restaurants and experiencing the different parts of the movement there. I've gone out to do raw food events in Europe and experienced the scene out there.
No,
And,
aside from Germany, where have you been? Didn't you go to Ireland?
no.
Oh.
I went to India and
Someone
to
else.
Thailand, which was a fascinating place to experience, tropical fruits that we don't typically see here in any of our stores or marketplaces.
Great. So, Carrie Dwyron, yoga instructor, and you have a place called the Juicery in Portsmouth.
Yep, juice bar.
Juice Bar, Portsmouth, and she also is a mother and a wife, which we're going to be finding out how she manages to live with some raw foods in her diet with two other people. What got you started?
It's been a journey. It's been a 5-year journey for me. When I became a yoga instructor, I did sort of immediately change my diet into more of a vegetarian diet. I dropped everything. I continued to eat fish for a few years, and then after that, just gave up fish, became a full vegetarian, then started to give up dairy products and eggs, and just kind of did a progression as well. I met Dan a few years back, but it wasn't until about a year ago that we started hanging out more on a regular basis. I knew he was a raw foodist, and I didn't really know too much about the raw food lifestyle. I knew that he ate in sort of extreme and different ways compared to the regular public. And
Which we'll
so
hear a little
we were hanging out one night, and I said, "So what did you eat today?" And just kind of, he told me what he ate in that day, and it piqued my interest. We started talking about raw food and sort of the reasons behind it, and he told me a little bit about it, but I'm the type of person who has to go and sort of find out for myself. And so, of course, I jumped on the internet and started doing all kinds of research. And
What's the responsible way to look into something? You don't just want to...
Right, yeah.
So it was an educated decision that you said, okay, this sounds like something that I can make work
really,
with my life.
when I looked at it, I couldn't believe how much more it was than, our short conversation. And I couldn't believe the kinds of things that people were experiencing on a raw food diet, the kinds of illnesses that they were curing, all of these major changes that happened in a person's life when you adopt raw food. And so just started, about a year ago, changing my diet more toward a raw diet.
You have been pretty ambitious. You have an ambitious undertaking where you are trying to raise a family and increasingly incorporating raw food into their diet as well.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
your son is
I have a son who is almost 3.
3,
Yeah.
and your husband, who very likely never really ate anything but the typical Americana diet.
Right. Yeah.
How is that? How are you doing it? People want to know.
It's not easy. It's when it's you yourself, it's much easier to make changes. When you're dealing with other people, and you're concerned about their health, particularly when you have a child and you're worried about getting the right food into your child, it is more difficult. But my husband's been great. He's been right there, right along with me. There's a lot of people who wouldn't have been so easygoing in that way. Yeah, and understanding. He's kind of, through the 5 years, has done everything that I've done. And basically it's because we've talked about what are the benefits, we've done the research, we have looked into it, both of us, and so he realizes it makes as much sense, to him as it does to me, and so he's been right along with me.
Has he noticed changes in his own health or in maybe how he feels with his... And I'd love to see maybe how he chats with his buddies. Oh, you should see.
Yeah.
They're looking at him like he has 2 heads.
Well, since about this time last year, when we really started incorporating a lot more raw foods into our diet, since that point he's lost almost 45 pounds.
And does he look better for it?
I think he looks great.
Okay, because if he started out thin, then we're having trouble. But
well, he's a kind of a tall, thin guy, but had some to lose, and had always sort of struggled with not being able to lose it.
And the composition changed over to probably a better quality weight.
Oh yeah,
More muscle,
absolutely.
less excess fat.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And it was just something that happened, just melted away. As soon as he started incorporating more than 50% raw food into his diet, it just started melting away, and almost effortlessly. He's not the type of guy to go out and exercise and do all that sort
Now,
of
what about
thing.
your son?
He is.
He's 3 now.
He's almost 3,
How
so
old was
he
he?
was, almost 2 when I started him.
Now you're just starting
more
them
raw
on
food.
Aren't they just starting on more solids at 2?
Well, he had been eating since about a year old. He had been eating regular food. We
he
had
didn't know what
some-
you were doing. He says, "Oh, I guess this is what's lunch today."
He did. He did.
That's great.
He's
You
always
start him
been
out
a
young.
vegetarian. He did eat dairy products and eggs up until that point, but we started having health issues with him, whereas he had eczema, and to quite an extreme, quite a bit anyway. And I looked for nutritional ways to deal with that, and so I took him off of eggs and dairy because those are really high allergenic foods, and it stopped progressing, but it didn't get better. And it wasn't until I changed his diet to, again, more than half raw food that it went away. And it went away, wow, completely, and it hasn't returned since. And I believe it's because of the raw foods and just giving his immune system enough strength to finally kick the eczema. That I think that's what helped us out, and it's not easy with a kid who doesn't want to eat hardly anything and is a picky eater. And
Now you have to mix regular, I'll call it traditional diet food. Diet meaning just anything that a person eats, not necessarily weight loss diet food. Just to clarify that point, you're blending the raw food in with a more traditional type of. Now, how do you do that? Because
if you call traditional, vegan is not typically traditional, but
What would be a typical-
we're doing like. For myself, I like to I always start the day out raw. If I can get through the breakfast, the vast majority of the day raw, then I feel like I'm doing really well. I always have a smoothie in the morning, and that's my breakfast, and that's entirely raw. Lately, it's been made of coconuts, young coconuts, and fruit, and if I can get my son to also have a smoothie, which, we're up and down with that. The first 6 months, he had a smoothie every day. I thought it was great. And
He's getting
we
bored
called
with it now.
good. Yeah, and now he's kind of on a little smoothie juice strike. But if I can do that, start us with a smoothie, and and the smoothies doesn't just include fruit. I mean, I include protein sources in the smoothie. I use hemp protein.
in the form of the seed, or is it
Yeah,
powdered?
the seed. Well, it's ground up. The whole seed's ground up, and I also include things like spirulina and other
Spirulina, which is a
green
protein.
powders, and flax oil, and sort of smoothies are a really great way to get a bunch of that
Hide it
stuff
all in there.
into
It's a Flintstones vitamin in a drink.
yeah, a lot better.
A lot better.
Yeah. And so if I do that, I'm starting the day out great. Lunch, if it can be 95% raw, that's great for me. For my son, it's probably much less in terms of it being raw. But if I can always get fruit into him, vegetables he's not huge on. I try to get his vegetables into him through a smoothie or through a fresh juice.
Now, what's your husband eating while you're starting your day off raw? Is he?
Same way.
He has a
starts,
smoothie?
Yep.
Then he
starts
goes to
his
work?
day. Yeah, and because we own a juice
buys a
bar
pizza
where we also
for lunch. Oh, that's right.
Right,
He's
it's
set up
easier
to have
for
a better
us,
meal.
Right, yeah. We have a vegan juice bar where everything there is all
Oh,
vegan, and we do
that's
raw items there as well. So he'll either have some kind of wrap made of all vegetables or whatever, or he'll have a nori roll or something that's
Okay.
all vegetable and raw. And then we do a lot of raw fruit and vegetable juice, and that's a huge part of our day. We always green juice every single day. And then when it comes to dinner, if I get about 50% of dinner raw, then I'm happy with that. If I do a big salad and then some other kind of vegetarian cooked dish, then
Does it take a lot
at
of
this
time?
point, it can. It takes a lot of pre-planning. Dan's diet doesn't take a lot of time. Dan,
No, because
we
he just
eat in very
crunches it
different
all up,
ways.
seeds and all. He doesn't
Right.
bother with blending
Yeah.
them.
grab a head of kale and that's good for him. But yeah, when you're trying to feed, again, a picky child and trying to make more of that traditional
You have to
type
be more
of
forgiving.
meal,
Yeah.
you know, that you all share together, yeah, you have to get a little bit more creative and a little bit more varied in your diet, and it can take time.
Which leads us to Dan. Okay, Daniel has a much more purist way of going about your raw food. I mean, you never mix in anything else.
Well, I've been doing the diet for 7 years, and over the 7 years, there's been times where I've had cooked food in my diet to some degree. Right now, I eat 100% raw plant food, and I want to say about that most people hear that and think that in their minds, apples, pears, bananas, oranges,
It's limited.
romaine lettuce, or iceberg lettuce. And I would say that the average American eats about 15 different foods a day, and they might have pasta and meatballs, and the next day they have a sandwich, and they don't realize that both times was mussels and wheat. So most people are eating the same food every day, and in my diet I've sought out huge variety of foods, so that in a given week I might eat 50 different foods, whereas the average person is eating probably wheat, meats, and dairy products as the bulk of their diet. So yeah, my diet has gotten very specific over the last couple of years. I eat pretty specifically raw nuts, raw seeds, raw vegetable foods, and raw fruits. And I don't do a lot of recipes now as much as I used to. I think in the beginning people had a lot of comfort attachments to food, and that's years and years of work in getting past that.
So you just throw it all on a plate and eat it?
So I eat
I'm like
usually
that now with the traditional types of foods. It's not pretty to look at. It's just throw it all together, and I think it's gorgeous, but other people might look at it and say, it doesn't seem to have any real form, Jill. What were you going with here?
Well, yeah, in the beginning,
So you're
people
gonna
are
stay with raw.
really really trying to recreate their favorite cooked meals in a raw food version. And there's some excellent chefs and restaurants and recipe books out there now, so that people can do that, and then they can feel the comfort of the foods that they're used to. But in time, as you start to get more in touch with how food makes you feel, those things start to fall away, and you start to eat simpler and simpler.
And there are probably a lot of efficiencies that take place as the years pass, because you're much more familiar with how to prepare. You're not having to read things and go,
Right.
what am I supposed to do with this stuff? Oh yes, or
And you start to just appreciate the way that your body feels on a simpler diet. I'd say in a given day I eat twice, 2 big meals right now. My diet changes a lot, and I'm always experimenting with it. But right now I'm eating about 2 meals a day. I eat in the morning. Usually I'll have some type of shake, usually based on coconut. I like a lot of foods that people haven't even ever tried before. Raw chocolate bean is one of my favorite foods. Raw vanilla beans, one of my favorite foods. Raw goji berries from the Himalayan mountains are one of my favorite foods.
goji berries. Now, goji berries are a main staple, aren't they, for a lot of
It's something
raw
that's been
foodists?
introduced into the raw food scene pretty recently, because it's one of the most mineral-dense berries on the planet. And so they come in from the Himalayan mountains, and it's like a whole food nutritional supplement. So those are types of foods that I add into my morning shake. And then in the afternoon, I typically eat a pretty big green salad, a real simple salad. And that's an average day for me.
Now, you don't eat in the evening, or the usual time, the 6 o'clock time for dinner. Or
Yeah, we're
you're
sort
not hungry?
of on a 3-meal schedule here in the United States, and I think somebody just made that up.
Oh, I just get hungry.
I typically eat a little later than most people do. I don't eat right when I wake up. I think I feel a lot better personally if I eat late in the morning, and then again early in the afternoon. And I feel best if I wake up in the morning having not eaten the night before. So I typically don't eat at dinner.
There you go. So, where do you find the types of foods that the raw foods that you're talking about? Where do we go?
Initially, any supermarket produce section. That's where I started. In time, I decided to make a move more towards organic foods, foods that have been grown without pesticides and herbicides and such.
Which is better when you're juicing.
Which is better when you're
All
eating, which is better for
Okay.
the environment. And that's a choice that I made. And most people do. You're getting a much more nutrition in organic food. So I started shopping more at larger chain health food stores. They tend to have better produce sections. Some of the smaller health food stores aren't really carrying produce yet. The supermarkets now are starting to carry more organic food. You're starting to see more of that. I know at Carrie's Juice Bar that most of the food there is organic, right?
Right. Yep. Everything in there.
All the
Well,
juicing.
all the juicing stuff is organic. Yeah, the majority. Yeah.
A lot of internet. I shop a lot
You shop
online.
online?
Yeah.
You know what's amazing
we
right
like
now
the
is
internet.
well now we
Definitely.
can get food from all over the planet delivered to your house.
Do you think
whereas
that's safe?
I
It
think
doesn't go
it's-
through the FDA.
I
It doesn't
think
go through the
I
government.
think it's better in the
inspection.
sense that you're able to access foods. I'm able to access in one day. I might eat chocolate beans from Ecuador, and then I might have goji berries from the Himalayan mountains.
Which you just can't find, in your typical grocery store.
And I shop a lot at Oriental and Asian markets.
Yeah, okay.
I buy most
You
of my
go there too?
coconuts from Asian
Yeah,
markets.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
we get
shipped in.
Coconuts?
Coconuts, young coconut.
Is that the place to go for coconuts?
For young
They're kind of
coconuts.
expensive at the regular grocery stores.
Well, these are different than the regular grocery store coconuts. What you see in the grocery store is a brown coconut. It's
They're big,
very
giant-
old. You open it up, the water tastes awful. The meat is very thick and gritty and
Yeah,
everything.
you're right.
These are young Thai coconuts that are full of water. It tastes great. It's a sweet water. The inside, the meat is very thin. It's soft in consistency. You can spoon it out with a spoon. And
Are they easier to
very
open?
different nutritionally.
Do you have to use a drill? How do you get
Yeah,
into the
I take
coconuts?
a cleaver and hit it
Yeah.
4 times, turn it, pop a square off the top, and you can pour the liquid right out. Yeah, those are shipped in direct from Bangkok once a week, so they're fresh. Whereas the average coconut in the supermarket is about 2 to 2.5 years old. So these
Are you
coconuts,
kidding me?
these coconuts are about a week old, and so they have a definite shelf life. So typically, Asian markets are carrying much riper fruit as well because supermarkets tend to get fruit that's unripe, and then people buy it that way, bring it home, and,
And it
like
ripens off the vine.
hope it ripens.
Yeah, exactly. I find
Whereas
that problem.
the fruit shipped in from Southeast Asia particularly is usually very ripe. Mangoes, durian, which is a food most people haven't had.
Durian. How do you spell that?
Durian. So many fruits that we don't typically get access to in our supermarkets are available in the Asian markets. People who've come here from Asia have brought so many of their traditional foods with them, and sort of a
Wow.
whole community that we didn't have access to before. Now we have, and we
Yeah.
have amazing foods and fruits of excellent quality. That
And they're
we
on
didn't
every
have
street
before.
corner practically. Which is great. Well, one way you can find out if raw food is something you'd like to try is by attending a potluck. And I know, Dan, you have been starting a potluck evening in Maine.
Yeah, we've been meeting about once a month, sort of informally. I've started a large web ring on the internet where I've been connecting with people through email. And about once a month we get together, usually at somebody's home, somewhere in southern Maine or southern New Hampshire. And it's a chance for everyone to just come out and support each other, meet people who have similar interests. Yeah, it's an absolutely non-elitist, non-judgmental group. People come in who've never heard of raw foods. People come who've been doing raw foods for a long time. The level of food that's brought is completely different. Carrie brings some of the most amazing desserts that I've ever had in my life. I bring
Everybody loves
rather
dessert.
simple things.
Everybody loves dessert.
Some people just bring salads, and it's just a chance for us all to get together and support each other. Like I said, about once a month, usually on the weekends, and
That's nice.
and we've been doing it, like I said, in all over southern Maine.
Southern Maine.
And it's been about 4 or 5 months now that we've been doing it. Like I said, just about once a month. And anyone who's interested in that can get a hold of me. They can call me at 207-651-2931 or check my website, which is www.danielvitalis.com, and get my contact information there. And I'd gladly add you to my email list. And anyone's invited to come on out and
You have to
give it
bring a
try.
dish, though, right?
And we ask that everyone brings a dish.
You have
And
to bring
again,
a
if for anybody who doesn't have any experience with the raw food lifestyle, I just ask that you bring a salad.
So we're just going to have to attend one of these potlucks and find out firsthand what they're like. Do we have an invitation?
We'd love for you to come.
Okay, great.
Need help with anything?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hi.
Daniel.
Hi, Daniel. I'm Mary Jo.
Hey, we're here at our potluck that Dan was nice enough to invite us to, and Carrie. We're at Martha's house, and we're looking forward to some delicious dishes and finding out how they're made and meeting some really nice people. So stick around. Well, we have Martha Vignola here, and she is the host of our potluck tonight. And you're going to explain what you made because it looks yummy. It's got some beautiful colors in it.
Oh,
Tell us
it's
what's in
yummy,
it.
Jill.
Okay.
It's actually my favorite recipe, and I make it often. It's a real treat. This is called Thai peanut sauce vegetables, and what it is simply sliced up zucchini, summer squash, julienne carrot sticks, and if you want to, you could put broccoli florets in here or some snow peas. And then there's a nice sauce on here, which is the kind of the secret ingredient. The sauce is made with raw almond butter, about a cup of that, along with some lemon juice and some ginger, a little bit of salt and some garlic. And after it's mixed really well, it's placed into a dehydrator. This is a dehydrator that you can get in any store. And the dehydrator's purpose is to soften and warm the raw food, so it's just not a raw salad. And the family actually can serve themselves right from the dehydrator, so the food is warm when you're serving it.
I'm really interested. She's got a juicing table going over there, Dan. What I've brought to the party is an avocado dressing, and there's organic avocado, tomato, lemons, and herbs, all just mashed up with the organic celery and the fire radishes out of my friend's garden.
This is ginger for ginger ale.
Okay, good.
Good job. Let's put some spinach in there. Okay, keep adding the apples. Good job.
Okay, I'll put some in there.
That would be great.
Okay, and can I have some?
Absolutely. Okay, now another apple. We need to put apple in after the ginger ale. That's a fat apple.
Let's go. Do you think we will do any,
Sure, whatever you want to put in.
Okay. Can I just drink the first cup?
You can drink the first cup. Ready?
Yeah.
There you go. Try it.
Hello, my name is Katrina. I have prepared a sun veggie nori roll. That's bizarre. Sun veggie nori rolls are sunflower seed pate, and how I make that is I first soak the sunflower seeds overnight, and then I sprout them for about 3 hours. Sunflower seeds sprout really quickly, so they're a great, easy one to use. After they have sprouted, I blend them up, and I put in 2 cloves of garlic, 3 slices of onion, some cilantro, and lemon juice. And then after that, I lay out the nori rolls, I rub the pate on it, and put some sliced carrots, sliced red peppers, a little bit of sprouts, and some green olives, and rolled them up.
Here we have some of the food that I made for the potluck today.
It's like
We have what I called 7-layer Mexican fiesta, which is sort of like your conventional 7-layer Mexican dip. There's a layer of refried beans that are made primarily with walnuts and pine nuts. There's also guacamole and raw sour cream. It's made mostly with young coconut meat and a fresh raw salsa, some romaine lettuce, and just some other little decorative toppings. You can use either romaine lettuce or red cabbage leaves as a taco shell for this, or you can eat it with the chips. These are corn chips that were made in a dehydrator, primarily made with corn, red bell peppers, almonds, and not red bell peppers, yellow bell peppers, almonds, and flax seeds. And the flax seeds are what hold the chip together, and then you put them in the dehydrator and dehydrate them until they're crispy. So, Carrie's 7-layer Mexican fiesta. This is a tomato avocado mixture, basically. These are all different varieties of tomatoes from my garden. There are about 5 different kinds of tomatoes. There's black tula, which is an heirloom tomato. It's very sweet. These are white currant tomatoes. They're also very sweet. I like sweet things. These are tiny tom tomatoes. They're mildly sweet. And then we also have super steak, which are just kind of a regular tomato. And sun sugar. They speak for themselves. And with that we have avocado mashed up. We have corn, fresh local corn, and the whole thing is just mashed up and patted down and decorated with little tomatoes and put a flour in the middle.
I wish you were staring. Endless crap going on. Like, where are the chopsticks when you need them? I wouldn't. I mean, I couldn't even go past the first shoulder, but that's a whole other problem.
This is delicious.
You know, that part is kind of cool. Disney's fun. You know, the studio's fun. This city is just... You go on all day.
That looks good.
Oh, it's very good. Is it? Mm-hmm. It's very yummy. Is that the one Mom made? It tastes like carrots, but I don't see cabbage and parsnip. Cabbage and parsnip.
There's chives in there or something. Droppings.
Now what? Is that tofu? No, that actually made a little sunflower seed pate. And then it's carrots, red peppers, and olives, and sprouts.
I don't know what it's called. It looks good though.
What are they soaked in? You know? Just water, huh? Ooh, they're so good like that. They're delicious. Yeah. Oh, they're so yummy. Oh my gosh, these chips are fabulous. What kind are they? No idea. Corn.
All over it. Wow, Mary, that's so good.
Yeah, that's awesome. The best ever. When I knew you were coming, I didn't.
Carrie made this. You have to try this. It's Mexican pasta. And she made corn chips. Kidney chips.
My favorite recipe here
Is the kale salad. And it sits so well in your belly.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our journey through the raw food scene. I want to thank Robert from the Organic Garden in Beverly, Massachusetts. I want to thank Dan Vitalis and Carrie Dwyron of the Juicery in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and Martha Vignola for hosting the Raw Food Potluck. For now, this is Jill Newman. We'll see you in the vegetable section.